Increasing amounts of our personal information is collected and used in our everyday lives. It is crucial that this information remains safe and secure. With roughly 40,000 staff and their family members, countless visitors, applicants for EU funding and other contacts, as well as important databases, the EU institutions and bodies, including agencies, are no exception. The European Data Protection Supervisor, also known as the EDPS, is the independent European authority on data protection. His job is to ensure a high level of protection in the many different activities where EU bodies collect and manage personal information.
Privacy and the protection of personal information are fundamental rights, everyone's fundamental rights. The EU institutions are processing personal data every day. They all have to respect the European Union rules on privacy and data protection. And our job is to make sure they do.
EU institutions consult the EDPS whenever they draw up administrative measures and internal rules that involve the processing of personal information. In addition to these consultations, the EDPS advises on legislative proposals and offers support to the institutions in many other ways, such as providing guidelines, organising training sessions, workshops and meetings. Each EU body must appoint at least one data protection officer, whose job it is to make sure that the data protection rules are respected within that body. The data protection officers also act as a liaison between the EU institutions and the EDPS, to whom they can turn for advice.
The EU institutions and bodies deal with large amounts of personal information in their daily work. Each institution is accountable for respecting the data protection rules when handling this information. One of the most effective ways of doing this is to seek the expert advice of their data protection officer from the outset.
Christina is a committed European, and she is glad that her country Croatia will join the EU this summer. As a qualified ICT manager, she would like to join the European Commission this year, so she's filling in a detailed application form through a portal managed by EPSO, the EU Staff Recruitment Department. The system gathers the profiles of millions of different people wishing to work for the EU. What will happen to this information?
We manage many different types of personal information in the European Commission, and we have an obligation to ensure that it is protected under the data protection rules. As the institution that employs the largest number of people, we are responsible for respecting the rights and freedoms of those who work for us, as well as those who apply for jobs with us.
The EDPS has issued a number of guidelines to assist the institutions. They include recommendations on recruitment, staff evaluation, disciplinary proceedings, and video surveillance. When the EDPS issues such guidelines, the EU institutions and bodies need to comply with them and to demonstrate their compliance in the interests of transparency, accountability, and good administration. As a supervisory authority, the EDPS also monitors the EU institutions and bodies. The EDPS carries out visits and inspections, checks risky data processing operations, and analyses complaints from individual citizens and staff. The EDPS has a number of enforcement powers to back up this supervisory role, including the power to refer a case to the European Court of Justice. But the aim is that EU institutions should take the lead themselves in protecting personal information.
The EU institutions and bodies should set the example in respecting the EU rules. They are accountable for their data protection responsibilities. The fundamental right to data protection is a matter of good administration and common sense. We offer our help in a number of ways, but we expect our recommendations to be implemented.